Hello, Scorpio, and welcome to your combination July and August reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's so good to see you. As always, this reading can be used for Sun, Rising, Moon, and Venus. Let's get started with your channeled messages. As I was meditating on your sign, the image of a whale came through, and in particular, that beautiful moment where it comes up for air. And sometimes I think we forget that whales are mammals, so instead of having gills, they still breathe like you and I do. And they can hold their breath for a long time, but they still need to come up for air. So for some of you, that can be a metaphor for needing to take a break, to get some perspective, to let go of some stress, and to take care of yourself. So taking a deep breath. And maybe there's been so much going on in your life. There's this moment in time where you just need to sit and breathe and be with it for a second. The whale itself also makes quite a splash sometimes when it does this. So the second portion of this symbol is about picking a moment and really deciding, like, this is where I'm going to make it count. I'm going to show up, do everything I need to, and make a splash. So as we take a look at this 2-month forecast, I'm going to look for those opportunities where you might need to pull back a little bit and breathe, and then other areas where you can shine, basically like star energy. All right, let's get started. And I think you'll enjoy this. I've been having a really good time looking at a 60-day forecast. It gives you a lot to sort of like strategize with, and I hope you enjoy. All right, take a moment, please, and release any persistent thoughts that you might be bringing into this reading. On the exhale, let it all go, and then create a circle of light around your body. And in this circle, let's set an intention to receive all the highest guidance, welcoming in the angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. I'll walk you through this in just a moment here. Basically, again, this is going to be 1 month on this side, another month here. I have a lot of new cards that we'll be looking at with some new meanings, but first things first, let's take a look at your catalyst. All right, so starting things off, we have a little mouse. The card is reversed, and the keywords on the catalyst are as such. We have focus, conservation, and modesty. So the fact that it's reversed, we could actually take this as a call to be a little bit bolder. Because when I think of a mouse, I think of a small voice. I think of something that's just sort of like in the shadows or in the sidelines. And like I said, this is about making a splash. So I'm not necessarily surprised or even upset that this is in the reverse position. The focus portion could be the challenge here. So if you're lacking focus this month and there's something distracting you in the environment, or if there's something distracting you just mentally, deal with that first and foremost so that you can really make the biggest impact with the remainder of the month. The conservation piece is interesting. I think it's good to be frugal. I think it's good to save up. We don't want to be in a sort of mindset of limiting possibilities, but I think this is really speaking to having some savings. And the modesty piece is also interesting. Some of you may be feeling like it's difficult to clamp down on the voice or hold back. And again, I kind of think that's in alignment with where you should be this month. All right, let's talk about the spread now. As I said, it has some unique meanings here. So we have karma here, we have destiny here, we have past, present, and future for each month, big takeaways, a connector, and a block. All right, so I'll walk you through it, don't worry. We're going to start off first with the karma. In the karmic position, we have the Three of Pentacles. So the Three of Pentacles is a card that is associated with partnership, learning, recognition, higher education, and the big keyword usually with this is mastery, meaning that when you set your mind to something, to doing something, you absolutely can do it. This is where you can make a splash. Karmically, it feels like you've done the work, you've put in the work. This is really just about applying that. If there's something that you wished that you could have done or wanted to do, you now get a chance again to set it into motion. So for those that have done the work, apply the skills. If there's something that you're yearning to do, perfect time to do that. And this would especially include training, education, and anything that allows you to feel knowledgeable and again to expand your skill base. All right, let's take a look at the past influences coming in for the month of July. We have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. This is a decision to invest in yourself. You could be deciding to rearrange your schedule, and it's about reallocating that resource. There could also be something when you're thinking, you know what, I'm ready to go back to school, or I want to train myself, or I want to focus on this. There's something that potentially needs to be reallocated or repositioned, even if it is just time in the schedule to make that happen. This is also a decision. Internally, you're thinking, I'm ready. So when that light bulb clicks, when that moment happens, everything else starts to kind of like ignite from that moment. So I really would love for you at the beginning of July to take a moment and decide, where do I want to make the splash, which we just talked about, and then set it into motion. Put something on your schedule. This could be creating some goals, setting some priorities, and allowing then for yourself to kind of have this, it's basically like something, a contract even, to be accountable with, all right? This might also be a desire to ask for more. So a Page of Pentacles could notice that there is a lack of something when reversed. I need more time. I need more support. I need more respect. Whatever it is that's missing from your life, this is you deciding, I am going to strategically seek a way to get this. Ask, in other words. So if you need something, ask. If you see a gap or something missing, it's also time to communicate that so that you can get what you deserve. Page of Pentacles. This also might be something that is put in front of you. Again, there could be something that's missing from it. I want you to kind of go through the fine print and make sure that you understand what is expected of you so that there's no surprises or no strings attached. So now the channeled message is making so much more sense. As we look at the present energy coming forth for the month ahead, we have the World. And suffice it to say, this is all about expansion. In particular, this reminds you not to limit your thoughts. So when it comes to personal development, career opportunities, love, just life in general, reach for something that you haven't done before. This is a time where it can happen. This is also, we can take it almost at face value. You may be deciding to move from one place to another, different part of the world. You might be deciding to move in with someone or out of a relationship and on your own. Something significantly different about the way that you either approach your world or your physical space. If you are working on a project, for all my creative people out there, like authors in particular, this is one of the best cards you can pull. And this is the writer's card. So this could be a period of time where your project, your idea, your book reaches a much larger audience. You could find an agent, a publisher, you could launch something. And that's why it's important to really put your time and energy into what matters. Because by the way, this card is about being energetically and emotionally invested in it. Make sure that you feel like it's worth it. If that happens, all that we see in this card for the present energy will come forth, and really it portends good things. So I feel like this is a fantastic month ahead. And let's see what's coming through in the future state. So we have the Strength card here, which is also a very favorable energy. Strength is interesting though, because sometimes it shows that you may have to push a little bit more than you think. There could be a little bit of a challenge. Maybe it's a gatekeeper. Maybe it's a friend or family member, but there's someone that's a little bit hesitant or might be trying to come in and, test your decision making. But the Strength card has the wherewithal to make it happen. She tames the beast, basically. What I love about this version of it versus the traditional, she's not putting her hands in the mouth of the lion. Instead, she's just calming it down. Know when to fight, know when to stand back and just sort of say, wait a second, I don't think we're making any progress here. Why don't we come back and revisit it tomorrow? Not spinning your wheels is going to be so essential in saving energy. And when you think of strong leaders, sometimes they even just say, this isn't how this is going to go. They can step in and redirect the conversation. So it's a quiet leadership that I'm kind of picking up on for you this month. take care of your physical health, take care of your the people around you too. This is really focusing on, we talked about the conservation piece. That's what this is. We don't want you to kind of get exhausted and not have enough for the future, because there are some changes coming through in August. I saw a lurking tower there. So save your time, save your energy, focus on what really matters. There are some conversations, some fights, some things that are just kind of like a waste of time and energy. Let's look at the big takeaway for this month ahead. And what we have here is the Queen of Cups. So I feel like you're going to land on your feet at the end of the month. There'll be more creative energy coming through. And there could be new love or relationships that might be starting to emerge during this period of time. One thing that Queen of Cups is fluid, flexible, and open. She's highly empathetic as well. You can feel your way into the next big thing from the heart space. It may not all line up on, in black and white on paper, but there's something this month where you're just going to trust your heart, and your heart will lead you in the right direction. I definitely think that there could be a deepening of relationships. And when we combine that with the World card, this could be taking it to the next level. There might be a nice Leo coming into your life as well, or a water sign. But suffice it to say, these are very favorable cards. So we have, education or a project or some sort of learning that will help you expand and go to the next level. You're still going to have to put in the work. It may be a little exhausting, which is why you don't want to overdo it, but ultimately this little bit of a balancing act that you do is going to pay off. Let's take a look now at the card that brings everything together. As your connection between July and August, you have the Ace of Swords, and it kind of reminds me of Excalibur, where King Arthur had to go and remove that sword from the stone. To me, that represents being able to do something that others can't. And this all actually portends pretty well for those of you that might be job seeking, but this is a great time to go for something. Even if someone around you is trying to convince you to do it their way, I really encourage you to go for something, because I feel like it's your moment to shine. This is a card ultimately of action, and all aces represent potential. By the end of July and at the very beginning of August, your action is necessary. So that's kind of your deadline. You have a month to get it together, but I see a tower at the very beginning of August. So it's going to be important to get organized by then, because if you're not ready and if you don't have things charted out, then the tower becomes a little bit overwhelming. So instead, I see you being able to perhaps ride that wave of change, maybe be the agent of the tower, making something happen or taking something apart, and then it's a lot more satisfying. So get a plan together, and if you do need to get something signed or approved, do it before the end of July. If there's something that you need to have written down or started off, it's very important to do that. I would say I would try to do it by the middle of July, but definitely by the end, it needs to be sorted out. If you need to talk through something, be outspoken, be direct. This is a very direct card, and set it into motion. Let's take a look at your potential blocks. So this helps you connect to this month ahead. This could get in the way of it. So we have actually what I think is a gatekeeper here, the Queen of Swords. She is saying, wait a second, I have a question, or I want you to do it my way. So there's that component as well. There may also be a need to fine-tune the way you communicate things for the intended audience. I talk about this a lot, sometimes with the King of Swords, but it's not a one-size-fits-all. Because of their viewpoint, they can see all the different ways that they might need to organize or communicate something. So there's that. The other thing here is listening. Kings and queens tend to do a lot of talking. The pages and the knights tend to do more listening. So with this, I'm getting listening because she's kind of got her hand outstretched and she's just doing a lot of communication, but make sure that it's two ways. And if you're always being talked to, this is about making sure that your voice is heard, however you want to look at that, okay? You may also want to get a lawyer involved for any key negotiations, particularly since there's a tower coming. And so it's okay if there's a little bit of a delay on this. You want to make sure that everything is ready and that you're not taken surprised by this, okay? Let's go ahead and move into the next month. We'll take a look at August. We're going to start off with the energy at the beginning, which is going to be past influences for August, and we have the tower. So here's the interesting thing. We've given you everything you need to do to avoid a surprise with the tower. If we were just to look at the table here are a few things. One is to get things approved or in a written form before the month kicks off. Another one is not to waste your time and energy, sort of like trying to fight with someone that doesn't want to listen. The other thing is not to limit yourself. As long as you kind of follow these rules, I think you're going to be okay, but either way, when the tower comes through, suffice it to say, it's important to embrace a necessary change. Here are some positive towers that could be happening, and based on what I see here, this could be a positive tower. Getting a new job, being in a new relationship, moving to a new home. Also getting a surprise of something that you didn't expect, perhaps recognition for a job well done, since this was in the karma. All of those are great. Challenging karmas could be something coming to a close, like a marriage, maybe leaving a job not on your own volition, like layoffs or being fired, something of that nature. This can also be distractions around you, maybe something going on in your community, in the place that you live, even in the building that you live. And when this happens, all that you can do then is decide what next. So if I read it broadly, I would say any sort of change or announcement or commencement needs to happen ostensibly the month before in July, and then we see the change or the result happening pretty quickly at the beginning of August. If you haven't started something, you'll have to start it at the beginning of August, and the key thing here is to embrace change. Anything that used to work probably won't, so you're going to have to also get out of your comfort zone and explore and try new things, okay? All right, let's take a look at what's coming through in the middle of the month. As we look at the present influences in August, we have Two of Wands, which is quite good. This is basically your ability to pivot from the tower moment and say, all right, I think we can work with this. I think I can see beyond the distraction. And by the way, sometimes this is all the tower is, someone making noise, trying to get you to focus on that instead of something else. Take time in the month of August to plan. The Two of Wands is a very connected card. Normally, instead of her little mobile device, we would have a globe. So it's saying, I want to be here, but I'm here. What do I need to do to bridge the distance? This is also a coming up for air card. I mentioned that I would help you with that. So the tower could be a positive splash, but then this is coming up for air to see past that. It could be a distraction. This is coming up for air to see how to deal with it. Either way, it works. What also is your next step? This is getting out of the fight or flight mode, and that is, if anything sums up the tower, it's fight or flight. Literally, people are flying through the air. So what we want to do is to not make a decision in the middle of upheaval and emotional sensitivity. You want to instead get back down to a place where you are grounded, or get up to a place where you can see things from a larger perspective and then step forward, not when you're in that in-between zone. So feet on solid ground after having that bird's eye view, and then you can start to walk towards the next destination. This is going to be a great month, August, for brainstorming, for ideation, for, again, working with some other people, and even sharing some of these new ideas. You could have a solution to a problem that no one else does. And as you're looking here at the chaos of the tower, a little bit of glare on that, apologies, but you could be finding a way to solve that, again, that no one else can. Now we have a knight, and notice how we've made a really nice progression. So we started the 60-day period off with a page reverse. Now we have a knight upright. So now as we take a look at future energy for the end of August, we have the Knight of Pentacles. Now you're ready to move on, move forward, and we see a leveling up in the money and in the resources. It was worth the investment. So we can already see ahead that what you're deciding to put some time and energy into will be worth it, provided that you don't get distracted by whatever this might be, provided that you don't end up spinning your wheels trying to convince someone that's not ready to listen, provided that you don't limit yourself. But otherwise, we see good things coming through and a return on the energy. Knights also move and travel. So at the end of this 60-day period, you're probably going to need to be doing some traveling. You might have to meet someone halfway because you realize there's only so much that I can do through the telephone, through email, etc. And that all is going to be part of this. Also, we just see that there might be some new money, resources, or opportunities that are knocking. So all of those are pretty positive notes. Let's take a quick look at the summary for this month, and then we'll get into destiny. So as we take a look at the takeaway for this month ahead, we have the Hierophant. You're going to be able to find order in chaos, the Tower. These two cards are both creating friction, but also an opportunity to rise above. And the way to get to that is coming up for air. And then coming back and saying, I know how to solve this. I'm not worried about change. I'm leaning into it. Here's how we can do it. You're picking up the pieces and creating something brand new. Because if we go to the original Three of Pentacles, again, it's a construction card. And that was already what we had here in the Karma. So you know how to do it. It's a matter of doing it. And this is stepping forward and kind of like setting that into motion. Some of the challenges could be that there is a conservative, traditional, or just a little bit fearful approach in the change, but you're going to be able to walk people through it. There might be a couple of paths. Those two keys show two approaches. And we have basically a very non-traditional Hierophant here. Normally it's a Pope. I like that we have a female figure here. So bringing in a new approach, bringing in some new insight, and not sort of like bending to the usual traditional approach. Change is good. And even in this organized and structured role, you're still going to be an agent of that change. All right, now let's see where it's all heading. We're going to look at your Destiny card. All right, for the Destiny position here, we have the Empress. This is where everything is taking you over this 2-month period. This is one of the best cards we can pull because it represents empowerment, development, birthing, and creation. So suffice it to say, as uncomfortable, if I can hold the card upright, as uncomfortable as the Tower might be, it's nonetheless necessary for growth, movement, and change. It's just a matter of being able to keep your cool, keep your calm, and that is the big growth opportunity in August. If we were just to quickly look at all of this, and then we'll expand the forecast a bit, here's what I like. I feel that most of the energy in July is prep work. You're getting things mapped out. You're getting reorganized so that this doesn't even need to happen, or when it does, you've already reallocated your resources. You may be able to move and avoid this altogether, or again, by the time you get here, you're 2 or 3 steps ahead of it and you aren't surprised. You're conserving energy and you're doing something creative and fun, which is going to get attention. You may need a lawyer for contractual things, and anything that you're going to do, go big or go home. And especially now as we look at August, your visionary ability and your ability to navigate change is what sets you apart. If you start to hesitate, that's when things get a little challenging. All of these power cards, Strength, Hierophant, and Empress, are saying, don't worry about it. You've got this, okay? Let's now transition into health, wealth, and love and see if there's some additional messages coming through for this portion of the reading. Health, wealth, and love. The message in health is all about getting the necessary distance in order to be happy and healthy. And for some of you, there may be distractions that are coming through. After all, if you remember, the very first card that we pulled had focus as being one of the challenges. So it might be important to take a step back and focus on what matters. And if there is anything going on in your life, like construction, or also, by the way, looking at this little mouse, if there's something going on where you need to get someone to fix things, if there's any sort of rodent issues or pest issues, that needs to be dealt with, because this can be leaks, construction, electrical issues, weatherproofing, and also wildlife possibly coming in when it shouldn't. So in the home situation in particular, this is something where if that kind of construction or that kind of distraction is happening, you should get away from it. And if it is something that you are renting, that should be covered depending on the laws of where you live. But protect yourself for sure. Broadly looking at everything in front of us, let's look at some other messages around health. I mentioned the Strength card is good overall. It shows that you have the capacity to deal with everything in this 60-day period, but you could end up spinning your wheels, arguing with someone. There's no time for that. So pick and choose your battles wisely. If you do intend to move, that could take more time and energy than you think, even more resources than you think. You need to take it easy. The Tower on the heels of this is also an encouragement to get as much assistance as possible. I know not everybody can hire movers, so if you can't, then kind of like try to get some friends and family to help, because we don't want any sort of sickness or sprained ankle, broken bone, etc. from doing too much here, okay? To that end, if you are starting some sort of a new health regimen, you want to make sure that easy does it, because even well-intentioned changes can be sometimes overwhelming. Slow, steady, mindful. On the bright side, it does look that towards the end of this 60-day period, the changes sit pretty well. There's one hiccup in the middle, and I think as long as you're not pushing yourself too hard, you're going to be all right. When I look at this and the tiny voice, there might also be some stuff around the throat chakra that arise. Make sure that you speak up when you're talking to a doctor and get a second opinion if needed. That's pretty much everything for health. So let's move on to the energy of wealth. Okay, this is pretty good. We have a commitment card. We have nesting energy coming through. Second time I've seen it this month come for another sign. What I like about the commitment energy is it's either about going big or going home. I feel like you're going to know where you stand with respect to a job or an activity or an opportunity. And I think it's okay to also at some point even ask, say, are you ready to take this to the next level? I know that's a very relationship thing, but if you're freelancing or if you're interested in something and you've been interviewing, you can gently sort of nudge and say, how close are we to getting a decision? That's a kind of more professional way to put it out there. But this does portend good things, and for many of you, by the end of this 60-day period, especially since we got this Knight of Pentacles, you might be exactly where you need and want to be. Very briefly looking at the different categories within wealth, let's look at those that are employed. I'm going to go straight to the Tower. For some of you, there could be a change in management. We even see it here. There could be a chance for you to step up. There could be a transferring opportunity as well. Suffice it to say, something significant is on the horizon about a month out from the time that this video is published. That means that you have time to affect this. So if you get sort of like water cooler discussions and a little bit of an inkling of something that's going to happen, ask. State your intentions, your desires, your questions, because this could help you leapfrog over the Tower into one of these positions. So I think it's a really good time to talk about future goals. This can be a positive change. You can set it into writing now. You can ask for something. It can get exposed to the proper set of eyes and ears. So this could be a very good 2-month period where you exit sitting pretty. If you just kind of sit back and wait, it's a little bit less kind of clear and you'll have to navigate it, and that's when the Strength card comes through. But I'd much prefer you to do that ahead of the Tower. So that's my advice, is to set goals and plans into motion. I think it is good to be conservative when it comes to your savings, have a little bit extra so that whatever this is, you can weather that storm. It's the only tricky card in all of this. So sometimes when a big change comes, you're fine. And I'm getting that energy here. We don't have Ten of Swords. We don't have the Devil card. And all of the wealth cards are fairly good. So if you can lean into change, I think you're going to be all right. But get ahead of this. Don't wait till the last minute. Okay. And if you don't know what it is really is just about making sure that everything else in your life is solid and ready so that when a change happens, it really doesn't take the wind out of you. All right, quickly looking at entrepreneurs. This is a great period for you. First of all, it looks like there is an opportunity to launch something, and there's 2 windows. I would take this window here. July is the month to make the change happen. People are receptive to what you want to put forth. You are more easily poised. It might take a little bit more of a push to get something out this month, but you're going to be happier with it. If you're trying to do something in August, be prepared for the beginning to be a little bit bumpy. Things are not going to go exactly as planned. And by the way, for both employed and entrepreneurs, here's the thing. If there's any traveling, any launch windows, anything in general, prepare for it to be possibly shifted by 2 weeks at least. Have an alternative. We have the twos are twoing here. We have Two of Wands and the Hierophant with the two keys. Always have a backup, and to the backup, have a backup. The ability for you to be able to think of another way around is going to be key to success. There could be something unexpected, something that's going on in the world that is separate from your career plan or from your budget or whatever, and you're just going to have to flow with this. So that is why you don't want to overextend yourself. And I do think it's important to be more conservative in spending. What's going well is there's a lot of eyes on you, and there's a lot of leadership eyes on you. There might be a chance to significantly take something to the next level. Possibly you could sell a company or sell a project or get a licensing deal. And people they'll want to know what's next. And if you don't know what's next, it's time to start planning. Overall, pretty manageable. August is the question mark, and you want to get ready for that. Have a good team around you. I see in both months at least 2 or 3 people. It looks like the same set of energy. So as long as the team is solid and you're solid, you can land on your feet. Okay. Looking at those of you that are job seeking, it's definitely better in July. And that's not true for every sign. For your sign, it is. It feels like the middle of the month opens up new opportunities. You're going to have to ask for a little bit more money. It may not all be there when you apply, but I definitely see an opportunity that can come through. They're looking for someone with strong leadership and strong creativity skills, so bubble that up if you will. Whatever your expertise is, and especially whatever degree you have, make sure that that's also easy to communicate or to be seen when you're in the interview process. Some of you want to go back to school, also great. As long as the finances allow, this is a great time to do that. As I look ahead, I think the challenge is, for some of you, it feels like there's a need to get this done because if something doesn't happen within 30 days, then it's a different plan and a different outlook. Maybe a move might have to happen or something like that. I do think you have a significant chance of, creating some traction, whether it all happens in the amount of time that you want or need it. Sometimes things can take 3 or 4 weeks. I think it's good to have a plan B too. So if you are looking at downsizing or maybe even expanding to a different place and saying, I'm willing to move for a job, that could open up new options. Make sure it's worth the money. Make sure they pay for that move because moves are expensive. And I like this window of opportunity. It's a little bit easier than this. For everybody, it really feels like it's mid-August when you hit your stride versus all of July looking pretty good. So the beginning of the month is a little bit tricky, but after that, it gets better. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Don't get distracted when you're on an interview. And we don't need false modesty. They're looking for confidence. So don't lie about any of the qualifications, but also don't sell yourself short. And that's pretty good advice no matter what. Students, feels like you're in a good place when you're watching this, but it's the next month where you really want to focus. And there might be some distractions in your own personal life that could be taking you out of being able to be focused. Be mindful of that. You may want to change up the program or the course of study, or you might be looking at transferring. I think for now, finish what you've started and then look at, this might be next semester or next year. So it's a good time for strategizing and talking to people that you trust. Overall, the spread is very good, but there is a distraction. Whether it's environmental or institutional, you can figure out what the next step will be. But in the meantime, you can still succeed. This is just a question of where you want to be next semester, next year, and even beyond school. So it's asking you to strategize and not wait until graduation for some of that. Okay. Moving on to retirees, pretty good time overall. Maybe some of you are being called to travel. Teaching and learning is a big energy coming through in July. In August, I think it's better to kind of stay put. Again, travel, not so great in August, better in July. This is a time to start to think about things that you might want to do later this year. And again, personal development also coming through. And it looks like there might be some family gatherings because the Hierophant and the Empress are very patriarchal, matriarchal cards. So you may decide to focus a little bit more on family and community. and then you can have a little bit more fun in July. So the work happens in August, the fun happens in July. All right, let's move on to love and relationships. I love this. We have the soar energy coming through. It feels like things are really starting to take flight and take shape over the course of this 60-day period. So let's delve into all types of relationships and see what's up. All right, so in existing relationships, these are good cards, actually. So it does feel like there could be a birth. There could also be a decision to take this to the next level and commit. There may also be one partner that is either on an extreme high or low, because we have also these punctuated moments. And so just be there for one another. One needs a little support. One can lend a little bit of support. What I like about this spread is the strong energy. I think the only challenge in relationships sometimes can be in deciding who's taking the lead in one moment to the next, because I see two strong partners. But that's also the strength of the relationship is it feels like you are pulling 50-50. Both partners have something to offer. Avoid trying to convince or trying to boss the partner around and trying to step into a role of parent, because Strength and Empress are very bossy and very parental. So be mindful of that and give one another that room to fly. Looking at those of you that are single and looking good for you, there are so many options. As we look at July, we have a Leo here coming through. We have water sign as well. This is really more about you, but we have definite energy for partnership. It looks like it's outside of your current circle, or it might come through travel. I would say, given all of the options on the table, just make sure you're clear in what you're looking for. I'm definitely getting strong and assertive energy and self-sufficient. So that's across the board, but there's no one type here. So if you're casting a wide net, I'm getting it. But if you're wanting to be a little bit more specific, spend some time thinking, what do I want? I think that it's much easier to put energy into relationships in July. In August, you're distracted. There still may be someone that comes through towards the end of the month, but this is the time to focus. And then in August, take care of other things. That's my advice. Okay. Single and happy, congrats for being single and happy. You may be deciding to focus on a major launch or a major move or a little bit of both. Definitely a lot of energy around personal development and education. And maybe you're deciding to redecorate the home or get organized. Whatever that is, I really like it because this gives you an ability to feel comfortable after the change. It's almost like you're overcorrecting for some of this, but it'll still give you that sense of confidence and easy footing afterwards. All right. We are at the final question now. This can be anything that you need a little bit more clarity on, and let's see what Spirit has to say. Ah, fantastic. All right, so for the final question for today, we have the Six of Wands. It is reversed. That is still nonetheless a very good card. In the upright position, it's success. It's leading the charge. But in the reverse position, it might be chasing after trying to do the same thing again. So in music, there's like the sophomore slump where an artist tries to rinse and repeat what happened before. Don't try to chase the same template. Do something that feels right to you in this moment in time. Redefine what success is for you. And also, it may not always, so being successful doesn't always mean being recognized. It means doing what's right. And so oftentimes the approval or the accolades follow. As a yes or no, it's a yes, but all of the stuff that I just said is like a caveat. You might be doing exactly what you need and want to do, but there's like crickets because you're not getting the feedback yet, ... It does feel like by the end of this period, you will have it towards the end of the 60-day period, but the beginning portion is really about laying everything into motion. All right, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this new format. I did. I think it's really great to be able to see 2 months ahead and strategize a little bit. And you've got it on time, and you have this month plus the next month. So I'm happy to get us all caught up. If you enjoyed this and it's your first time here, please hit the subscribe button. Or if you've watched a lot and never subscribed, I would love it if you could. Hit the thumbs up also if you enjoyed this, and leave a comment below. Let me know what most resonated with you, what you enjoyed with this format as well. I appreciate that. You can also give back in the form of becoming a member or adding a little sticker to your comment below. That helps it stand out, and it also helps me continue to upgrade all of my cards and equipment and do more videos just like this. And that's everything, folks. So I just want to say thank you. One last thing, actually. First of all, you can always find out more about me from my website, including all of my social media links. So if you'd like to get future updates, you can follow me on social media at Nicholas Ashbaugh on all the major platforms. And now, that's everything for today. Thank you for being the absolute best part of what I do here on YouTube. I wouldn't be here without your support. And I hope you're all doing well. Take care.